Welcome to the Ultimate Sports Podcast. The second guest of the day hosts his own podcast, the Hard Hits Podcast, and runs his own sports blog, the New York Puck. Second time on the podcast, Derek Felix. How are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you doing, Madison?
I'm doing great. So last night was the draft lottery. You and I were chatting about this last night. To me, the big takeaway about Zion going to New Orleans is how this may or may not affect Anthony Davis's future. Where do you stand on that? Do you think he ends up staying in New Orleans or ultimately gets traded?
No, he's going to get traded. It's pretty obvious. Just based on the reports afterwards, that it's definitely not going to impact anything based on what we've seen, at least in social media, at least what's been reported. So he's definitely going to be moved. He does not want to stay, and I don't know if they can repair that relationship anyway. So.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I like David Griffin. I think he did a great job with the Cavaliers. I obviously wanted him to replace Phil Jackson, but no, he goes to New Orleans. He gets lucky, wins the lottery, gets Zion. And yeah, I agree with you. I think Davis gets traded. I think the Knicks have to be considered among the favorites to get him, as well as the Clippers, the Celtics, and the Lakers. And the Lakers have a better chance now than they did maybe a few weeks ago because they jumped the four. They have lucky duck Lakers.
That was unbelievable. I know the lottery was a little bit different setup this year, and here you have it. I mean, you have two teams that weren't even supposed to be anywhere close. They moved up because they changed the odds. Of course, it's what happened the year the Knicks have the worst record. But I mean, as far as Anthony Davis, where he wound up, I do think he'll wind up with the Lakers. I know that there's the latest talk was that they don't want to trade him to the Lakers, but that's just posturing. I think the Lakers have the most to offer. They've got some really talented players over there, Ingram being one of them, Lonzo Ball, and I'm leaving out another guy. I think the other guy that was actually at the lottery,
Kyle Kuzma.
Yes. So I mean, they've got a lot of young players and a lot of young talent. They have the fourth pick. I mean, it seems like they've got the most to offer. So I think it's going to get done.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's the Lakers, but I still wouldn't rule out the Knicks because the Knicks have the better pick of the two teams, and the Knicks can throw in those picks that they got from Dallas in the Kristaps Porzingis trade as well. So you never know. But the Lakers have the better player assets, but the Knicks have the better picks assets. So I think it's close, but if I had to bet my life on it, I actually think the Knicks, only because I just don't think that David Griffin wants to trade him to LeBron's team. And don't forget that those two obviously were together in Cleveland.
That's a good point, actually, Madison. I didn't actually think about that, but I can actually understand where you're going with that. As far as the Knicks, my question would be this, for the three-headed monster, that's what we'll call them, the three stooges there, Fizdale, Mills, and Perry. What is their plan? I mean, when I ask that, I'm not saying I know they're going to go and get Durant. That's obviously the plan. To get Durant, get another free agent, whether it's Kyrie Irving, maybe could be second fiddle, even though I'm not a big fan of his. And what's going to happen? That's what I want to know. Like, what is their plan now that they fell to three, which is not bad. It's just, do they want to draft R.J. Barrett? Do they want to parlay that pick? Do they want to overpay, which is what they're going to have to do, overpay and draft picks and parlay the first round picks they got from Dallas? When Dallas could be a lottery team next year. I mean, do they really want to take that risk for Anthony Davis and pay him all that money? I don't know. Yeah, I'm curious.
I'm very interested to see what they do. It's going to be a very interesting summer. And currently in the NBA is the conference finals. The Eastern Conference Finals begins tonight between the Raptors and the Bucks. Who's your pick and why?
I got to like the Bucks right now. I just think that, first off, Antetokounmpo obviously is just terrific, tremendous player. He just looks really focused. And I know Toronto's got Kawhi. Kawhi is the miracle man. I mean, what we saw there. But it just got, there's a much deeper team They really are. I mean, I think they got great depth. Bledsoe is a really good two-way guard. I mean, he can defend. Lopez can space you out. With his three-point shooting, Middleton, they bring guys off the bench. They've got they've got some good guys off the bench that I think will really hurt Toronto. My question would be this for Toronto, okay? They were scared. A lot of their players were scared in that Game 7. Of course, I'm talking about Pascal Siakam, and they really need him in this series. So, my question is really for him, is he going to show up? Because they need him to show up. And Toronto doesn't have much of a bench to begin with. They need him to show up, and they have to have the other players show up. It can't just be the Kawhi show. It can't just be a couple other guys. They've all got to show up to be competitive. Otherwise, they're going to get killed. Right now, I probably lean towards Bucks in 6. I'll be nice here and hope and actually give Toronto some credit. I was thinking about Bucks in 5. I changed it. I'm going to go Bucks in 6. I
agree with you. Bucks in 6. I originally thought about taking the Raptors, but the Bucks have been so good in these playoffs, and Giannis Antetokounmpo has been amazing. The Raptors, like you said, they were scared in Game 7. Kawhi Leonard, I think, has a chance to be the best guy in the series, and normally if you have the best player in the series, you win. But I just feel so much better about Giannis than I do about Kawhi. No offense to Kawhi, who's been amazing, but I'm going to take the Bucks in 6. I think they have the better coach. I thought Nick Nurse was a little shaky in Game 7, but I think Kawhi bailed him out a little bit.
He played 2 players off the bench. It worked. It worked, in that game. But is that really that's not gonna work in this series. And Fred VanVleet gave them nothing too in that series. So it was basically Serge Ibaka. If Ibaka didn't hit some real key threes, Patterson, and hit the glass, he would have lost. Kawhi basically had to do it by himself, and that really concerns me. I love Kawhi, and I'm going for Toronto, and nothing against Milwaukee. But I look at Milwaukee. You got Connaughton that could shoot. You got George Hill. That was a great pickup. The backup point guard, Ilyasova, could rebound and also spread it out. They just got much more depth, and so I'm worried about Toronto.
I'm very worried about Toronto, too. And you mentioned George Hill, and I keep needing to mention this on my daily podcast that I normally do. That was one of the best pickups of the year. I criticized the pickup at the time, and I thought Milwaukee overpaid because they threw in a first-round pick in that trade. But you got to give credit where credit's due. He's really stepped up in the playoffs, especially when Brogdon was out.
Well, this guy's got a lot of experience, too. He's been there before. He played, of course, all the Pacers, and I don't want to rehash that. He was almost an all-star there, and because it kind of brings back some bad memories with the Knicks. When Roy Hubbard's destroying Tyson Chandler, that's why we lost him. It still gets to me a little bit, but it is what it is. The past. But George Hill knows how to play. He's got experience, and yes, he did overpay. When I saw what they gave up, I was like, wow, why did they give up all that? But you know what? He's got the experience. He's got over 100, I think, playoff games in his career. I didn't even realize that. So it really helps, and to have that kind of poise, to have that leadership, it gives them a change of pace. A guy another point guard that can shoot, that could run the offense in the second team. So boy, oh boy, that really helps them, and they've got a lot of depth.
Yes, their depth is a big reason why I think they're going to win this series. Let's go to the Western Conference Finals where the Warriors took Game 1 last night. Are you still feeling good about the Warriors? Because I sure am.
They, you know what it is? I think they just play totally different without Durant. They play like they used to play. I think we saw it a little bit in Game 6. We saw that in Game 6 against the Rockets. We were really disappointed, even though Paul and Harden put up the games. But they play more team ball, which means Curry is not just looking to just settle for the first shot. I saw a guy that he was looking to take the ball to the rim in the first half. He's looking to take the ball to the rim, which creates more space. It spaces out the floor for teammates. Then he runs off screens, and then he'll look for his points. And Clay could be muddy. He could go off at any quarter. And then then you have other guys like Iguodala, Dre Green, who's the ultimate team guy, so good defensively. Nobody talks about what Dre Green does for this team. And you think they wouldn't have won these 3 titles without him. They wouldn't have been in these NBA Finals. Iguodala, and now they're bringing guys like Quinn Cook off the bench. You know, they're bringing Derevko off the bench. How about Kevin Looney? How about Heaven? What he does on the offensive glass? I mean, look, the Blazers will play better. They're going to play better. I mean, they're definitely going to play better. CJ's going to shoot much better in the next game. They're not going to leave Curry wide open on those threes. They'll play better. You know, I think Zach Collins needs to play a little bit more than Enes Kanter when I saw in the first game.
I agree with you. I think the Blazers will be better. I think they have a chance to win Game 2. I just felt that Steph Curry and Klay Thompson were just too much for them in Game 1, or else that score would have looked a lot closer. And I really said on my podcast earlier, I said that score was not indicative of how close that game was. That was a close game midway through the fourth quarter, and then Golden State just pulled away late. I'm going to say Warriors in 6. How about you?
I mean, we're thinking along the same wavelength. You know, we're on the same wave. It's almost like we share a brain sometimes. I mean, I definitely think I'll give the Blazers 2 games because I respect them. I think they got a lot of depth this year, so I think they really did do a good job. You know, they're going to have to make some changes. You want to be in the series. Rodney Hood's going to be important. Evan Turner looks like, you know, has the experience. Harkless is going to have to play good again. I'm going Warriors in 6. I do think Portland will be better. I'm sure Lillard will perform better. He'll have one of those quarters. So I think it will be competitive. I'd be disappointed if it's like last night's game.
Yeah, I'd be a little disappointed if it was like last night as well. Let's switch over to the NHL. Your thoughts on Bruins Hurricanes and the Bruins being up 3-0?
It's really simple. I'll just cut to the chase. I mean, I just think this was a bad matchup. It's no disrespect to Carolina. I think that when you look at Boston overall, Madison, I think you have to look at, all right, goaltending. Tuukka Rask is better, significantly better than Peter Mrazek or Curtis McElhinney, and it's not their fault. It's not even their fault. Then you look at their lines, right? In Boston's marquee guys, Marchand, Pasternak, Bergeron, Krejci. Their guys are better than Carolina's guys. And don't forget, Carolina's guys are young. Sebastian Aho, Karavainen, Svechnikov, they're getting their feet wet. So when their captain, you know, when Justin Williams, Mr. Game 7, I love him, but when he's losing the discipline against Marchand, he's costing them. He cost them last night again. And both him and Dougie Hamilton have lousy games last night. 3 penalties for Justin Williams, and then Dougie Hamilton's making bad decisions with the puck on the power play. I mean, those are supposed to be, that's where your leadership's supposed to be. I think the Bruins' blue line's better when you start looking at it overall. McAvoy, Torrey Krug, then you got guys like Clifton coming through. They're just, you know what it is? They're just better everywhere. Their fourth line's better. I mean, Sork Corrali's been big time. Coyle, they're just better. They're just a better team. And Tuukka is locked in, and that's why it's 3-0.
Yes, Tuukka's been outstanding in these last 2 rounds of the playoffs. I'm very impressed with the Bruins. I picked the Bruins in 6, but I'm probably going to be wrong. So, that's that.
Yeah. I went Bruins in 6, too.
Oh my goodness, 3 for 3. How about the Sharks and the Blues in the West? I think this is going to be a fantastic series.
Oh, I love this matchup. Are you kidding? I can't get enough of these two teams. I'm just hoping it won't be like watching paint dry like Game 2. But I understand why the Blues did what they did, because they got to slow down the Sharks. The Sharks are the better skating team. They really are. I mean, you know, when you got guys like Thomas Hertl, Spelsky, of course, who will get those gritty goals, and Timo Meier, and Game 1, you saw what the Sharks can do. They've got a lot of talent. You know, the thing with the Sharks stuff, and Logan Couture, how could I forget about him, and Carlson.
That's the Conn Smythe favorite right now.
I mean, you know what it is? Evander Kane has not been the same player since his fight with Ryan Reeves. One of my best friends, she's a huge Sharks fan, and she made the point, and you know what? Evander Kane's done nothing. He's got 2 goals. they really need him to step up. And Joe Thornton, he had a really nightmare game the other night. And I like the way the Blues play. But I do. They're gritty. They've got nice balance. As much as I'd like to see the Sharks get there, I'm pulling for Joe Thornton. My best friend being a Sharks fan, and I just think it's going to be a tough series for them to win, unless they get more help. And if they get into the more kind of series, the checking series, then the favor is the Blues.
Yeah, I took the Blues in 7 games, although I strongly considered taking San Jose in 7. Listen, I am rooting for San Jose as well because I have a 14-1 preseason wager on them, so I'm hoping that comes through. But being realistic, I just think the Blues are the better team right now. They are just rolling. I like their depth. Jordan Binghamton, to me, reminds me of Matt Murray from a few years ago with the Penguins when the Penguins won their first of the 2 runs. And I just think that it's going to be a classic series between those two.
I took the Blues also. Originally, I was thinking 6 games, but I see this as a 7-game series. So, yeah, I'm saying it. I'm actually agreeing. I'm actually saying that they're going to win a 7th game in the Shark Tank. They've already won 1 time there. And, that place is one of the best home ice advantages that there is. They really are. Those fans are great. They support that team. They love their Sharks. That's a great home ice advantage. So my curiosity, right, because I can see the series going back and forth. If it does get to a 7th game, I want to see what happens. I really want to see what happens there. I definitely have to sing the praises of Jaden Schwartz. He's been hurt. He was hurt a lot this year. That's why his production was down. But God, that guy is just a money playoff guy, just like Logan Couture.
Yes, and like I said before, I think Logan Couture has to be considered the favorite for the Conn Smythe right now. But if the Sharks get eliminated, then you could talk me into Tuukka Rask.
It's Tuukka. It's Tuukka and it's Logan. If you want to flip them, go ahead and flip them. It doesn't matter. They're obviously 1A and 1B at this point, and I would love to see a Bruins Sharks final. Of course, I'd be rooting like hell for the Sharks, and I have some friends that are from Boston. Boston, one of my best friends, Bruins fans. I can't stand Boston. I think you understand why.
Yeah.
They've been spoiled.
They're so spoiled. My buddy wrote on Facebook yesterday, if the Bruins win the Cup, that's 3 of the 4 championships, with the lone one that not winning is the Celtics. Like you said, they're very spoiled.
Thank God for the Celtics. Thank God Charles Barkley was right about that. What he said he said the Celtics were not going to win another game after the Bucks took them apart in Game 3.
Yeah.
Tough for that.
And how about Paul Pierce after Game 1 saying that series was over? That's what I think would curse the Celtics more than anything. I hate when people do that.
Look, I don't know if it's just the way ESPN's run. I actually had a little stint there a long time ago, back when I was in my young 20s. It was like, it's just the way they're run. They want that. They want these controversial, quick takes. First take. That's the name of the show, right?
Yes.
Stephen A. Smith. With Max Kellerman. Well, I love Max. I met Max, actually, when I worked there. He's a nice guy. And still looks the same. But, they want these quick opinions. They want quick opinions. It's not even about sports anymore. It's about just get fans riled up, I really, that's what I think. That's what, look at the draft coverage last night. They're all just going God over. So I almost feel bad for Zion. They're putting so much pressure on him. Leave the kid alone. I want to see the kid do well. They're putting so much weight on him.
I know, and I think the TNT guys are known for ridiculous takes too. I actually thought that the Barkley take about that series being over at 2-1 was ridiculous. I disagreed with him at the time he said it, and then he was proven to be right. So you never know with these things.
I think that the reason he probably said it is he probably saw the writing on the wall. You saw the way the Bucks responded in Game 2 and Game 3. You saw how Irving struggled in Game 3 and how the Celtics. And I thought that you watch Inside the NBA on TNT, it's a great show, and they talked about how it just seemed to me, and I didn't watch as much Celtics this year. They didn't have as many defined roles. It just seemed like it was Kyrie, and the ball obviously has to run through him. So Tatum didn't have a good season. He didn't have a good second year. And he had Jaylen Brown. He struggled with consistency. And Brad Stevens said, he did a bad job. And I think Brad Stevens is a good coach. And maybe they'd be better off without Kyrie Irving. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that team's headed for changes this offseason. And speaking of changes, the New York Jets made a big change today in firing Mike McCagnon. Adam Gase is the acting GM. What the heck are the Jets doing?
They're being the Jets, Madison. The Jets are the Jets. That's basically what I heard on the Michael K show, because I wanted to listen. I wanted to listen to what they had to say. And did you hear Don McGregor's little rant? He had a rant.
The Peyton Manning when he started to squeak?
You know what's funny? I was listening to that, right? I laughed and I smiled.
I was cracking up.
Let's be honest. The Mannings, both Peyton Manning, he basically is running both the Jets and Giants. It's crazy to think. I mean, if you think about what the Giants did, taking the kid from Duke, I mean, it's almost like both teams are being run. I think, I'm not just ashamed of it, is Tannenbaum made a lot of mistakes, right?
Yeah.
His first few years, made a lot of mistakes, created some moves that didn't work out. Christian Hackenberg obviously was a disaster. But, the whole thing with Todd Bowles. And the thing is, did they not have a good offseason? Did he not do a good job there? It's like, I just think that they made the wrong hire. I was like, when I saw, I was like, reading up on Gase, I was like, this is a strange hire. I mean, this is a really strange hire, and I just think that it has to do with ownership. It's like what we say about the Giants. It's the same thing here. And I feel bad for Jets fans. I mean, yeah, they'll probably be good. They should be good, but like, how long is Gase going to last? That's my question.
Yeah, this is going to be very, very interesting. And Gase obviously won the power struggle over McCagnon, which led to McCagnon's demise. This honestly did not shock me because I remember right after the draft, Manish Mehta, who I'm very critical of, tweeted that McCagnon was on the hot seat. And I remember Michael Kay and the boys were talking about it, and they didn't believe it because the Jets kept denying it. And I thought that they were wrong, the K show. And I thought that reporting by Manish was actually correct because there are other outlets saying that McCagnon was on the hot seat. If you hear the same rumor coming from multiple sources, then my theory is that and the most likely outcome is that it's true, and it was proven right today with the Jets firing of McCagnon.
When I remember reading that, and once you see that, you knew that there was stuff going on because did he not bring in? He brought in one of his. He brought in his brother or something. Brought somebody in, right? From his family. Yeah. I just think that it was not going to work. So it's like, yeah, I guess they were going to split up. So it's true, but I don't understand the Jets. How do you have a GM run your draft board? He does a great job. Everybody loved his draft. How do you have him in free agency? You know what it reminds me of?
What?
It reminds me of what the Knicks did with Phil Jackson.
That's what Michael Kay said today, and I couldn't agree with him more.
Nicolina. I mean, he takes Frank. They let him draft Frank, and the poor kid doesn't even get to play, and he gets hurt, and he looks like a bust. It looks like they're going to trade him. It's a disaster. It's a disaster. I mean, it's chaos.
The difference is that at least the Jets took a good player in Quinnen Williams. I think that's going to be a good pick.
Oh, you know what? Look, I'm not going to disagree with you there. He sounds like he'll be a really good player, and no disrespect to Frank. I want to see him play. I mean, maybe he can be a good player. I just think, you know what? They reached.
Yeah, I think they reached too.
They reached. It's the same thing with the Giants with the kid Jones. I know you're not a fan of his, and they probably should have just taken him with their second pick, their 17th pick. They should have just waited, but no. It's typical of just panic. When you have organizations that are unstable, and that's what they are.
Yeah, the Jets and the Giants right now are very similar. And I had our buddy Jeff Maglicetti on before. You know Jeff?
I know Jeff, of course.
Yeah,
we always have these friendly debates over Everett Lundqvist, who I think, it's time to move on. I mean, no, because he wants to get rid of Gorgiev. That's why. And I like to see Gorgiev stay. But go ahead.
But yeah, I had him on earlier today. We had a debate who's more dysfunctional right now, the Jets or the Giants. He said the Giants, and I agreed with him because of obviously the decisions they made this offseason with Odell Beckham. And although I know you don't like Beckham, I was a fan of Beckham, and I didn't think they got enough for him.
You know what it comes down to there? I want to be fair. Look, I think Odell is a top 5, top elite receiver. My whole thing is I just think he became too much of a distraction. I think they gave him the contract last year. That was their first mistake. If you're going to give a contract to a guy, then you have to stick with him. So I do understand that. And then when they gave him the contract, they thought he'd be more professional, and it started out okay. And then he goes on the ESPN show, does that interview. He just became too much of a distraction for them. And I actually think the return they got turned out to be pretty good. If it sets up the defense, I actually think that could turn out to be good. I know they tried to get the 49ers pick, but I feel like, I don't know. I mean, you're more dysfunctional because you listen to Gettleman, and he just sounds like he sounds like he's lost. And you know what it has to do with the ownership. This is not Wellington Mara, and his son just doesn't have a clue. And I think I know we got to go. I feel like the reason they decided to keep Eli, it had to do with what happened with Phil Simms. Phil Simms got dumped. They just dumped him for Dave Brown, who ironically is from Duke. and Phil Simms never played again. Entertained playing for Cleveland, but went into broadcasting instead and worked for NBC, actually. So,
yeah.
It's strange. I really do believe that has something to do with it.
Yes. That's crazy that you said that, because I heard the same comparison from many people. Quickly before we go, you tweeted the other day that you thought the Yankees were the team to beat in the American League. I disagree with you because of the injuries.
You gonna say Houston?
Yeah.
They're pretty good.
Houston's won 7 straight, and you can't sniff at that. I'm sorry.
That's okay. No, you're more than welcome to disagree. Like, you called Jokic, and I disagreed with that because I just feel like there's no way the Denver Nuggets would have been where they were without him. I mean, he was the guy that was carrying that team.
I called him Chokic because he missed 2 free throws in the game 7.
Yeah, he did. I understand. I mean, look, there's a lot of pressure on him. I hope it works out for him and the Nuggets. They're a team. As far as the Yankees, I love their depth. I think the injuries actually it actually helped them in a way. Yeah, I mean, Cashman picked up Karen Maven. That was a good move. DJ LeMahieu, who I wanted in the offseason, he's performed great. How about Herman?
Herman's been so good.
Was a throwaway from the Marlins. And, the Marlins don't know what the hell they're doing. And that was before Jeter even took over. I like the depth. And then, what's going to happen? Judge, they don't have to rush Judge back. I don't know what's going to happen with Giancarlo. I never wanted to trade for him. That contract is in there. We can't talk about that now. But
yeah, we'll save Giancarlo Stanton for another day.
I just think that, their pitching's actually pretty good. And they're not the favorites right now. I agree. The Astros are going to be very tough to beat again. And we know the Yankees have to prove that they can beat them. So I like where this team is. I love our bullpen. Eventually Patat's back, hopefully. I feel positive about this team.
I'm positive too.
About this team.
I'm very positive about the Yankees. And One more thing before we go. I forgot to tweet this out at some point, and I didn't even tell Jeff Maglicetti this on the podcast. I don't know if you're going to agree with me on this, but I'm going to tweet this after I say this. I think the Milwaukee Bucks are winning the title.
We agree.
Oh, you're in agreement there. Oh, I thought you were going to say Golden State.
No. One of my best friends. We've been on Milwaukee for a while. We both believe Milwaukee will take apart whoever wins the West Conference Final. Maybe I should revise that. Maybe I think Milwaukee in 6. If it is the Warriors, even if it's the Warriors, Milwaukee in 6.
If it's Warriors in Milwaukee, I'm saying Milwaukee in 7 because Milwaukee is home court, and I don't see Golden State. I just don't see them going so quietly, and Durant will be back too, so that's why I think that's a 7-game series. And the secret to that series is that the Bucks have home court advantage. That's the one secret that.
Match teams, though. I don't even know if the home court's going to matter. And then they might all be close games. It could be. I'm just saying. I mean, but I like Milwaukee. I've been on them. I like the way they're coached. And I really like the depth they have. And to me, they just look like the best team. That's how I feel. They're consistent.
I agree with you there. So it was nice to have you on again, Derek, and maybe I'll have you on again around the time of the 2 finals, maybe Stanley Cup and NBA Finals sometime in June.
Yeah, maybe we'll talk about the Rangers and about this whole the crazy Ranger manic panic of the fans with Kappa. We might wind up with Jack Hughes, and it's a disaster. It's terrible. Oh my God, who would want to have this advantage out of Jack Hughes? I mean, really.
I love Jack Hughes.
I'm sorry, I can't help myself.
I love Jack Hughes and I love Capo Caco, and we'll talk about that next time. All right.
Thank you for having me on.